Hello and welcome to my channel. Welcome to my third episode. Today we are going to look at planning your year and I'm going to use a figurative person. So this person is called Maria. She is a student, she's schooling at the same time, she's a businesswoman at the same time, she's a career woman. Just so we could capture just so we could capture the buckets of a lot of people's lives. We are going to have her be a lot of things. So one moment she's going to be a student, another moment she's a businesswoman, another moment she's a career woman. Don't let it confuse you. I'm just doing that so that I can help everybody see how to plan their year if they have a business or if they have a career or if they're students. So let's get right into it. So this is Maria's life. This is her year of discipline. That is what the Lord told her concerning the year. And when you look at her life, when we come to her spiritual life, the thing she wants to accomplish is to build her relationship with God. So what does that look like? What are the mini action plans that she must practice that would help her achieve that? So that is daily quiet time and fellowship, daily prayers, Bible study, retreating and fasting. Then, when it comes to relationships and her family, what are the things she wants to accomplish? She wants to build her relationship with her dad. And what does that look like? Having weekly calls with her dad. Those are the mini action plans. So, having weekly calls with her dad, setting time out to hang with him once a month. Then another thing she wants to do is build her friendships to be stronger by the close of the year. And what does that look like? What are the mini action plans she must take with that? Is weekly calls or texts with her friends, quarterly hangouts, and showing up when they need her. But there's a caveat. You don't show up to the expense of yourself and putting others before you. You balance it out nicely. Then when it comes to her career, what she wants to do is to pivot fully into project management role by the close of the year. And what are the mini action plans underneath it? She first has to research for her preferred PM course because this is a relatively new field to her. Pay for the course and enroll into the course, and of course, study the course. And then after that, she has to get an internship into a PM role. So she would research. So the mini action plans underneath it is to research companies that have PM internships and apply to such roles because oftentimes internships can evolve into a fully paid role. Then also get mentorship. And what are the mini action plans underneath it? Research for people in PM that are doing well in that area because sometimes mentorships open certain doors for you most of the time. And then reach out to them on whatever medium or platform you find them in. So that's it with her career. Then when it comes to her personal life, her relationship with herself, the thing she wants to do is accomplish is that by the close of the year, swimming is her favorite pastime. And what are the mini action plans under it? She has to research swimming schools and see the one that best fits her and makes payments for it. She also has to get swimwear and, of course, show up for the class. And then another thing she wants to do is to build her public speaking skills. And what are the mini action plans underneath this? She has to research for public speaking courses and enroll in them and also show up for the course. And the final one that will take it out of the water, blow it out of the water, is speak at an event. Now, another thing she wants to achieve this year is to read 3 books by the close of the year. So she has stated the books she wants to read. Now, stating the books further adds another layer of intention and commitment. So she has stated the 3 books she wants to read, which is Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck, Free to Focus, and a Purpose-Driven Life. Then when it comes to business, she's looking to start her clothing line. So what does that look like? What are the mini action plans underneath it? So the mini action plans underneath her business will be to launch the business, of course. And what does that look like? It looks like she has to research to find where she will source her clothes from and to get the clothes, of course. And another thing she has to do in relation to achieving this goal is to work on the branding of her clothing business. So the poly bags, she'll be using flyers and all of those things. So she has to find someone that can work on the designs for her clothing line and get them to do that, work on the branding for her in terms of the poly bags and all of those things. Then another thing she has to do in line with achieving the goal of launching her business is to work on social media and create content for her business. So she will set up a social media account and then begin to shoot content. Shoot content. Then when it comes to her health, healthy living, what she wants to achieve is she wants to lose 20 kilograms by the close of the year. And what are the mini action plans underneath this? So she has to move her body 3 times in a week. She has to eat little to no sugar and processed food. And she has to eat whole nutritious foods with more protein and fiber. So with doing this, these action plans will help her achieve the goal of losing 20 kilograms by the close of the year. And when we come to academics, the thing she wants to accomplish is to get her GPA to be 3.0. And how can she accomplish that? What are the mini action plans she must do to achieve this? Find and join a study group that are in the courses she is undertaking, and also build her own personal time study timetable where she will set time out to study every week. Then when it comes to her wealth or her finances, what she wants to do is to increase her earnings from 3,000 to 4,000 cedis by the close of the year. Her business can do that, and she can also get a side gig. So the mini action plan under this is to get a side gig. And how does she do that? She has to research and apply to get the side gigs. And another thing too she wants to achieve in her wealth or her finances is to get her savings to be at least 25,000 GHS by the close of the year. So what does that look like for her? She has to save at least 2,500 cedis every month in order to achieve this. So let me add this here. So she has to research and apply for the gigs. And with this, she would create a standing order. So she automates it, creates a standing order with her bank to take out 2,500 GHS monthly. So in doing this, she will be able to achieve her goal of 25K a month. So now we have looked at the whole overview of the goals she wants to achieve. And I think I want to move this here. So these are her quarterly goals. These are her quarterly goals. Let me just put a divider here. Then now, let's see if we can get 4 portions in here. Okay, 4 columns. I think we'll do it 2 by 2. So Q1, we will do Q1. So in Q1, what are the things she can achieve in Q1? So what are the things? Let's look at her life. There's business, there's personal, there's time. So in Q1, she can focus on her career. So in terms of her career, she can look at one. One of the things she can look at is to start researching and applying for the PM course. So by the close of Q1, she should be in her PM course. She should be undertaking the PM course by close of Q1 when it comes to her career. Then now when it comes to her finances, her wealth, because this is something she can easily do when it comes to her wealth. In Q1, she should have created a standing order. By close of Q1, she must have created the standing order with her bank and also applied, gotten a side gig by then. So by close of Q1, when it comes to her wealth, her finances, she should have gotten a side gig by then. She should have created a standing order with the bank. Let's look at business. So by close of Q1, she should have gotten her clothes for the business. She should be done with the branding for her business. She should be done with the account set up for her business. Now let's do something in Q2. And I'm going to show you how. I know some people may feel confused right now looking at what I've done, but I'm going to show you how it gets simple. I'm going to show you how it gets simple. So in Q2, we've looked at her business. In Q2, when it comes to business, she should have started creating content and her social media is buzzing by then. Ooh, sorry. Content creation has started. So in terms of business, content creation has started. Then by as I've sorted everything here. Okay, Q2. This too has to be healthy living must be done in Q1. Health in Q1. It must be done in Q1 because that's the beginning of the year. I don't know when you want to work on your health, if not right from the beginning of the year. So with health, she should be done with her ingredients list. Very key. So when it comes to her academics, by Q1, she should have her timetable and she should have her study groups. So we are done with health in terms of quarters. Then business, we are done in terms of quarters. Then relationship with herself and the public speaking and career in terms of the internship. So in Q2, we'll look at career. So when it comes to her career in Q2, by close of Q2, she should be in a PM role. And this is not set in stone because I know how crazy the job market is. But this is not set in stone, but she should be in an internship. She should be in an internship. She should be in an internship and she should have a mentor. Again, it's not set in stone because I know it's crazy. Getting these things like internship and mentors is crazy. So it's not set in stone. We are just because we are working with timelines and I'm showing how you draw out your goals. You draw out quarterly buckets from your goals and monthly buckets and weekly buckets and daily buckets. That's why I'm doing this. So she should have a mentor in terms of her career. Then when it comes to her personal life, by Q2, when it comes to her personal life, by Q2, she should have one, she should have paid for her swimming school and is already attending, then she should have, and then when it comes to public speaking, she should have paid for her public speaking school and is attending. So that's it with her personal life. So when it comes to Q3, by Q3, by Q3, she should have started applying to speak at events. When it comes to her personal life, sorry, I didn't write which bucket of her life this is personal. So she should have started applying to speak at events by Q3. Now, let me say this. With all of this that has been done, you should understand that based on your life, based on your life, and based on where you are in life and your capabilities in life at the moment, you can move any of this. I can decide that I would let business come to Q2 because I am so busy. Look at this. Just look at this. Because I am so busy, so I'm moving this here. All these things are interchangeable. I need you to understand this. Based on your life and based in where you are right now, currently, your situation and your capacity, you move these things accordingly. You can change the quarters. There's no pressure. You can decide that, okay, in Q2, that is when I'll start focusing on my business. I won't start doing anything concerning my business in Q1. In Q2, I'll start focusing on my business. You can decide that in Q3, I'll start focusing on the public speaking thing because it's not something, it's important, but it's not like a top priority for me. And I don't want to pressurize myself because of the number of things I have to do in Q1 and Q2. It's very interchangeable. I need you to understand something about the quarterly buckets. They are very interchangeable. They are not set in stone. You don't need to press everything into Q1. You can spread them out into Q2, into Q3, and into Q4. I need you to understand this. So now that is out of the way. So you see how we've spread out every aspect of her life throughout the year with targets and timelines in there. So she knows in Q1 she has to do this, the standard. And you should know that some of the goals, they need to happen in Q1. Like the standing order for your account, it needs to happen in Q1. Setting the timetable in terms of your academics, it needs to happen in Q1. Creating the ingredient lists for healthy living, it needs to happen in Q1. There are certain things you can't take them out of Q1. They must happen in Q1. Now, there are some of the goals, they don't show up in the quarterly. They show up in the monthly, and I'll explain this to you. I'll show you how this. So let's come to your monthly practice. So when it comes to the monthly practice, let's look at what she wants to achieve. The business, so the personal can show up here. The relationship, you realize that in the quarterly, relationship and spiritual didn't show up, but now when it comes to the monthly, relationship is showing up and spiritual is also showing up. So when it comes to the monthly, spiritual, so when we look at the spiritual, number one, retreats must be planned prior to the end of the month. So this must happen monthly. Now, when it comes to relationship, when it comes to relationship, hangouts with dad must be planned. prior to the end of the month. Then when it comes to academics, some of them are very, very generic, like the planning of the hangouts every month. But when it comes to the academics, look at this. The timetable must be done by end of January. That's when you see that there are very stringent or strict timelines showing up because you want to achieve this goal. Study group. She should have joined study group by end of January. Do you see? Now let's look at another aspect of her life. Health. Health. One. Ingredients list must be done by end of January. January. That's a good health. Then let's look at finances or wealth. Number one, standing order must be done by end of January. You see, some of them they are one time, some of them they are repetitive. So I think we've done personal, personal, personal. So the swimming, because we've put it in the quarter, we are not putting any pressure on ourselves. So you decide, but it's done in a particular quarter, in a particular time frame you want. But right now I'm looking at the month by the month. So the same way career, when it comes to the PM rules, is in the quarters. We I could put it in the monthly way, but because this is generic, I'm not going to do that. Then the swimming, public speaking is all in quarters. The hangouts with the dad is in the monthly, the retreat is in the monthly, the business, it's in quarters, it's also done in quarters. The healthy living, the only thing is the ingredient list. So we've set it at the beginning of the year because that sets the tone for the rest of the year. Academics at the beginning of the year. When it comes to wealth, to the looking for the side gig, we do it in quarters because we know it's the job market is a certain way. It takes time for you to get a job, but the savings that can be set in stone. So it's done in a month. So you see that this all this is a monthly practice and it has a timeline. Some of them have timelines, some don't. Now let's come to the weekly practice. I should have switched it up, but it's all well and good. Let's come to the weekly practice. Now, this is where you see the spiritual showing up. It's in weekly and in daily, you see the spiritual show up. You see the healthy living show up. So looking at Maria's weekly practice is going to entail her health. This is where meal prepping will show up in the weekly practice or in her weekly routines, and the practice of eating no junk food or processed food. Another thing that would also show up is her academics, where she has to take her personal weekly studies serious. She has to show up for her personal weekly studies and also show up for her group studies as well. Then another area of her life that or buckets of her life that the weekly will show up in her weekly practice or in her weekly routine will be weekly calls with her dad and friends. Then another area of her life that it will show up again in the weekly practice is her career. So the weekly core studies and her weekly task with the PM internships. Then when it comes to her business, We would also have content creation showing up in the weekly, where she chooses one day in the week to batch create all her content. Then another area of her life that will pop up in her weekly practice or in her weekly routine is no spending on frivolous stuff. Then another bucket of her life that will show up in her weekly practice is her reading, because she said she wants to read 3 books by the close of the year. So her reading, her public speaking course, and her swimming class. Of course, the swimming classes are done weekly, so she would have to show up for them. Then when it comes to her daily life, that is when you will see the spiritual play a huge role in the spiritual aspect of her life. So when it comes to the spiritual aspect of her life, the daily prayer, the daily quiet time, the Bible study, all of that, sitting with God, journaling, all of that, Bible study, X, sitting, journaling, sitting with God, whatever her spiritual journey looks like, or whatever her spiritual life looks like, it will show up in her daily practice. It will show up in her daily routine, in the things she does daily. And then when it comes to her health too, we'll see that she has to practice eating healthy foods every single day and no junk food every single day, no processed food every single day. Then when it comes to her academics, she would have to study according to her timetable. So if Tuesday you are doing archaeology, she would have to show up and study for that on that day. So that is how that area of her life, her academics, will show up in her daily practice or in her daily routine. Then when it comes to career, of course, studying the courses, you block out time in the day to study the course. Then when it comes to her PM role, and the PM role she's looking to pivot into, she has to carry out the PM tasks that are tied to her internship every single day. You block out time to do it. Then when it comes to her finances, no frivolous spending as well. Because mind you, it is the daily habits, the daily things, the things you practice daily that actually helps you to achieve your goals. Then when it comes to her personal life, reading daily also shows up here, and then studying the public speaking course daily also shows up here. You block time out to do that. So you need to understand that achieving your goal is in the daily. It's in the daily practice. That's when you'll be able to achieve your goal. But if you think that you can achieve your goal just at once, you compound everything in one moment, you have it totally wrong. It's actually in your daily practice. So you see how we've actually drawn out the buckets of her life into actionable steps she can carry out in the quarter, in the months, in the weeks, and in the days. And I tell you, when you do this, when it will take a lot of time, I know that because I do that. But when you do it, you realize that it makes things easy. It's that you set the foundation and the tone for the rest of your year. So that is how we actually plan our life. We actually plan our year doing this. That's how I've done it, and that's how what has worked for me in 2024, and I've been able to achieve much, and I'm doing it again this year. So yeah, basically that's it. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and remember, you don't feel pressured to try and accomplish everything at a go. It doesn't work like that. Give yourself grace, give yourself time, be patient with yourself. This is new to you. So do not feel pressured to hit everything at once. There are going to be days you will fall. There are going to be days you will not feel like showing up. I've been there. But nevertheless, I show up in whatever capacity I can. So if it's 20%, I will show up. If it's 30%, I will show up. If it's 100%, I'm definitely going to show up. So I need you to understand that you need to take time with yourself, be patient with yourself, give yourself grace. Do this and take it a day at a time. That is why we take time out to plan everything out down to the days, so that you know what your goal requires of you daily and you show up for that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Share with a friend. Comment if you are unclear about any part, and I would explain or do another video going into details. Subscribe and like. See you in my next video.